what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Toon Boom Animation Collaboratory with me, Nick, and Mike Morris.
Yo!
And yeah, so welcome. Today I'll be your host. I'll be the one yapping. Guess we'll start with some little introductions. As I've said, like 3 times at this point, I'm Nick. Currently working for Nickelodeon. I've worked for Warner Brothers, DreamWorks TV. I primarily am a storyboard artist, and on my off time, I like to do like character designs and comics. And I know how some of you know me. I used to stream, but just have not had the time. And how about Mike? You tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, welcome to the stream, man. It's good to have some more board artists on here. But as for me, if you haven't met me yet on the Collaboratory, my name is Mike Morris. I'm a storyboard artist and animator and episodic director. I've been working in animation for about 15 years on shows like The Simpsons, some projects at Disney like 2017 DuckTales and Future Worm, and a bunch of primetime shows that are going to be coming out. Most notably, the Mulligan on Netflix is one I worked on recently.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I've heard. Wait, is that one's out now?
I think so. It was a Tina Fey project.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, so for today in this collaboratory, we'll be doing a improv story, and Mike will be storyboarding it. So it's up to you guys to give us suggestions and characters. And so start with the basic. We need the characters, the story, and the conflict, so that we can Mike can storyboard it on the fly.
Yep, our standard 3, a couple of characters, a setting, and a conflict. And so, Nick, let me ask you a question about storyboarding, because I'm always the one that gets asked the questions about storyboarding. When you get like a handout, I guess maybe I should preface this by saying, do you work mostly on scripted shows or do you work on board-driven shows?
Yeah, I work on scripted. I worked on a board-driven for like a couple weeks. It was like this whole thing. But for the most part, I'm on scripted shows. But what I do like about storyboarding and them trusting me is they actually do let me plus it a lot or just add my own jokes. So even though it's scripted, I've had to like plus a few things to make it better, which is always the fun part in my opinion. So, but yeah, for the most part, it's scripted. How about yourself?
Scripted mostly. I mean, I've had a couple of situations where I've done some more board-driven stuff, but I feel like that's kind of the way things are going mostly now is with script-driven. Less and less I see stuff for board-driven shows, which is kind of a bummer because I feel like there's so many artists out there that are really good at, telling stories without, having to need a script off the bat. I don't know. There's something that's very improvisational I find about board-driven shows. They can get wacky real fast.
Yeah. Although I guess as long as they trust you to like plus it and maybe take off stuff and put in stuff, I think it works out just about the same. I guess.
No, I would agree with that.
It's almost like less pressure on us because then like at least you have the structure of everything already. It's just you get to like put a little bit of your voice in it.
Yeah, but and I find that I know when I worked on DuckTales that the scripts were a little bit more flexible than say something like The Simpsons, where the script was more of a law and less of a guideline, I guess. There was one particular board that I did. I went like super off script, which was probably a little too far, but there's that nice give and take a lot of times with some shows where the script is something that you can sort of have a little bit of leeway with and be able to, make suggestions and especially if the writers are open to it.
Yeah, no, I agree because I remember I was on a show a while ago, and when they first started, I think the writers were like really attached to their scripts, so they weren't letting the board artists do anything. And I think what happened is the board artists like kept doing their thing, and they realized, wait, these people are actually really funny. So they finally eased up and actually let them do their thing, like actually let them plus and take out stuff of the script. But I think it was just that like it was their first time maybe writing on a show and they were so attached to like, no, I wrote this, so it needs to be in there. But that's the cool thing about like being on a crew or being on a show. It's like everyone has different mindsets, so you can collaborate and make something better. So that's how I've always felt about like, like working on a crew or a team or anything. Because it's like, especially when you write it yourself, you kind of get attached to like, oh yeah, and then like you think it's funny in your head, but it's like maybe it's not playing out to everyone else. So
well, I mean, we talk about this a lot on this show is how much storyboarding is just a way of communicating. Like how to communicate things in a way that it goes from your head to somebody else's understanding. Since we're not all like, full of ESP, direct brain to brain communication, we have to figure out a good way to communicate, and storyboarding in visual communication seems to do really well in conveying something that goes from your mind to someone else's understanding.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely visual storytelling. But yeah.
Sure. So, going back to some of the questions about boarding, like when you get your first handout, it's like say you're starting a new episode of a show, and you get your board script handout. What's like your first go-to thing that you do in digesting that script and getting into what I like to call the vomit pass, which is just the blah. You just put down your initial thoughts. Tell us about your process a little bit.
Yeah, so let's see. I'll get my script. Sometimes it depends how much time I have before like in between episodes to actually read it all the way through. And then it also depends if we just do like a table read with the script before I start. But I know like once I read it, I think the big things I focus on are I'll actually go like difficulty of sequences sometimes. I'm like, oh, which sequence is gonna like take a lot of work and which ones are gonna be a little chill. And then I feel like it also depends what season. Okay, so like let's say it's a season 1 show. A lot of the locations and stuff I'll have to make or look for like preliminary sketches. But if it's a show I've been on for seasons, I could be like, well, I immediately start thinking of like what locations I can already reuse. I'm like, okay, so they could be in this one for this, and you know what I mean, like these angles. I'll start thinking of angles, and I guess like the locations and angles first for any script when I start reading it. And then my process is I used to be the guy who thumbed out everything, but I actually will go straight into roughing because I feel like I already know where I'm going to put them. But if it's anything harder, like action sequences, I do need to thumb out because, like, you know what I mean? Like, actions take so much drawing. So I'd like to actually, like, think it out very quickly before I commit to drawing all these, like, angles and fighting moves and all that stuff beforehand. So that's usually my method, is just looking at I think, like I said, the biggest thing for me is looking at what sequences are going to be more complicated. I guess that's just how my brain thinks.
Do you tend to tackle those first, or you wait, or you get the small stuff out of the way and then tackle the meat of the?
I've been told numerous times to tackle the hard ones first, but I never do. And then I'm like, and then they're always like almost somewhat last minute. I'm like, what have I done? When will I learn this lesson? Yeah, I do that every time because I'm like, ugh, I'll do the easy ones, and then I'm like, what have I done? Yeah, I've been advised for a while now to like take care of the hard ones first because they're gonna take the most out of you, and then go to the easy ones. But it just never happens for me for some reason.
So it looks like we have a prompt for 1 out of 2 characters, an evil Santa.
I actually see a handsome, giant, beautiful Squidward level. So if those are the 2 characters.
All right, what have we got? What have you got?
I see one that's Elvis Ghost.
Elvis Ghost?
Let's see. Yeah, chat. What characters would you recommend? 2 characters. Like I said, I see a handsome, giant, beautiful Squidward level, and then Elvis Ghost. Let's see.
And then Evil Santa was the other one.
Setting the holidays early.
From Simon 31. Elvis Ghost versus Evil Santa. Or Elvis Ghost and Evil Santa delivering gifts.
Yeah, I mean, Elvis Ghost could be like one of the spirits of the holidays or something.
He's a ghost of Christmas past, man.
Oh, mama. Gonna get those gifts out there. Oh. Stoic suggested maybe sickly auto repairman. I don't know if I'd let him take care of my car.
Yeah, you might end up being sickly yourself.
Is there anything that sparks your interest? I know with the holidays coming up,
there's something I do like about this Elvis Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah.
There's something there. I can feel it.
Yeah, I feel like they don't do the Christmas Past Ghost. They don't give them enough style.
Yeah. So let's see what can we do with him. We need a setting. We need a good setting. Like, where would the Ghost of Christmas Past be Elvis? So maybe like some sort of Vegas thing, or Palm Springs, or some sort of like casino somewhere.
Is there like a different pole that's different from North and South Pole? There's like another pole they
I think there's only 2 poles. It's a whole rotation of the Earth sort of thing.
Whoa. We're in cartoon. You know that, like, have you ever had that moment where they're like, you're thinking too logical when you're making cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you're thinking too logical. I'm like,
it's not cartoon magic. Like, there's actual, like, logical thinking that has to go behind it. Sure. You just overthink it. You're just like, wait, this is simple. This is dumb. What am I doing? So let's see. I know that there's been a lot of, like, especially in like shows like Boss Baby, you know, there was like a huge big Elvis thing. But let's see. Let's try and do something with
what's been the, let's see, in your career, what's probably been like one of your favorite characters you've had to draw for a board since you've been doing storyboards?
I don't know. On The Simpsons, like, one of my favorite characters to work with was probably Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I could see that. Did you have to draw like his fingers doing this a lot? Yes.
Oh, every so often. That was always fun. Excellent. Right. There's, but there was one time where I had to make his like head implode, because he was like Mr. Burns he was dying again, and he was trying to figure out a way to extend his life, and he figured out that it was hate that extended his life. Like, he was trying to be nice to people, and that just ended up killing him faster.
I think I remember that one. But, yeah.
So he was like dying.
He's dying from being killed by kindness instead of killing them with kindness.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think myself. Yeah, because like every now and then, like when I'm on a show, like when I get like, I'll read a script and if that character's in there, I get all excited because it's like I finally get to draw them, or I get to draw them again. I'm trying to think which one for me. I know, like when I was on Casa, there's just so many characters. I was like, I guess I usually like drawing the ones with a lot of curves because I think curved characters are a lot of fun to draw.
Yeah, they are fun. Characters that are sort of squishy.
Yeah,
tend to draw well. You know what? Okay, here we go. Why don't we do this? We'll do the South Pole where Evil Santa lives, right? And then the Ghost of Christmas Elvis Past visits him and tries to get him to not be evil anymore.
Makes sense to me. Is he like the evil twin brother of Santa?
I don't know. I've never gone into the lore that deeply. So we'll keep this Elvis sketch here, and we'll start. Okay. I think we need to start in sort of a bleak wasteland type thing.
Some kind of winter wasteland.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to look for here.
Could have your classic, in a world it's cold because it's winter. It's like, wait, what?
I think it'd be good to do like maybe starting with like sort of a flurry, well, let's see. How do we make it start with a flurry? Because I think what might be kind of cool is to have some sort of like weird glacier type thing, not entirely the Paramount logo, but some sort of weird, North Pole-esque but evil type thing up here on a hill. So where you get like, snowstorms blowing through it or something. And maybe some sort of like keep out signs and, dangerous traps and, ice spikes and stuff.
Yeah, the very opposite of the the nice North Pole base. I get it.
Yeah. Maybe we can even like make the overall feeling of it cold by just changing a couple of things about make it a cool gray instead of a warm gray. There we go. Add that color. Then maybe just draw a couple of things on top. Oops. Gotta uncheck the draw behind.
I feel like Evil Santa would only have a naughty list.
Yeah.
Only.
Well, I think he just does it opposite. Like he'd have a nice list and just like pound on those people.
That's true. You always know you can win a fight against a nice person. Wait. So.
Well, we should ask Janelle. There's tons of nice people in Canada. I'm sure she knows how to thwart them. For those of you who don't know Janelle, she doesn't show on the stream very often, but she is our behind-the-scenes producer and is awesome.
She tells us exactly what to say. We are just robots. No. How many, in your career, how many holiday specials have you done?
I've actually never had a holiday special that I've really worked on. Well, actually, no. I have worked on some like Simpsons Christmas type things, but those don't nearly have the same sort of weight that the Halloween shows do.
Sure, the Treehouse of Terror? Horror.
Treehouse of Horror, yeah.
Treehouse of Horror.
Those are kind of coveted episodes.
I know. I feel like they went all out this year. I didn't actually. I need to watch it, but the fact they actually did a whole anime style section was pretty crazy.
Yeah, my friend Dane was super excited about that.
What season are they on now? It's like I'm trying to remember what season they're on.
That's a good question.
I remember years ago they were talking about ending it, but it's still going.
Ending it? Nobody wants to be the executive to say, yeah, I canceled The Simpsons.
I know, right? Sorry, did you say something before?
Was I? I don't know. I started drawing this and I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no, I know how that goes.
So I think we can sort of try and make some short work out of this. Of course, on the Collaboratory here, we're not about necessarily the perfect drawings. We're about telling the story. Perfect drawings usually come later, but we just want to get the feel of this sort of evil North Pole type place where there's spikes and terribleness abounding everywhere. We can even take this sky and make it nice and gloomy.
We checked everything out the boxes, though, right? We got the characters, the setting, and the conflict. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. All right. Man, I love that feature. The fill-in feature. It's so nice. And then we can even put some like, other like wispy, cloudish type things, but probably just a darker color in that same grain. So we have like, some more mood type things.
All these brushes are vector too, aren't they?
Yes, they are, sir.
That's crazy.
So I find, I was having a discussion with a friend earlier about boarding in Photoshop, and I know some people really like that, but once they did this stuff with the new brush engine here, I find that it's less and less of like a limiting factor for some people as far as, oh, do I pick Photoshop or do I pick Storyboard Pro? Because like, if you can do stuff like this with the vector brushes,
yeah,
then that solves a lot of issues for people.
Definitely does. Yeah, because for me personally, like, I think that was the only reason people were defending the Photoshop was because of the brushes.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know people like get really entrenched in kind of the stuff that they do, and that's fine. If you have your favorite thing, I don't think anybody's really actively trying to take it away from you.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's like whatever works for your workflow, go for it.
At the same time, I feel like Storyboard Pro has so much more of a flexibility about it, and especially when it comes to like things like camera, that it's kind of hard to overlook it.
Yeah. No, like was it? I think someone tried to get me to board in Photoshop, or they were showing me their file and how you had to like constantly like duplicate whole folders. I was like, this seems like a nightmare because like in Storyboard Pro, you literally push the P button and you got everything you need.
Right.
For the panel. But yeah,
Okay.
the Photoshop stuff, I was like, this is crazy. So much to keep track of. But yeah, these new like vector brushes are pretty cool.
Yeah, this one's really nice too. Like you can do a lot of, things like this where you can do randomized, particle effects and stuff. Like, I'm just drawing straight through it. This isn't a stippling type thing. I'll turn it up a little bit, make some bigger ones that are closer to camera.
Really get that flurry in there.
Yeah, let's make it nice and overwhelming.
I'm trying to remember how I feel about the snow because I originally come from Virginia. I do miss the snow sometimes, but I don't miss shoveling it. So that was always the big trade-off.
I'm sort of a born and raised California boy, so actually, people say that's actually kind of rare in working in animation, actually being from here.
Yeah, it is.
Which is weird to me because you would think at least I would think that more people would like recognize that as a valid career path. All right, let's give this a little bit of overlay of mystery with this other like brush. We'll give it a sec to finish processing, and then we'll go for it again. Sometimes sometimes with some of these brushes, when they're like really, really big, it takes a second to get that, processing done. So it's finishing up the lines and vector image stuff.
Actually, I'll have to mess with these brushes.
Yes, you will.
I know. I'm going to have to now. What have I been doing?
You're under a contractual obligation now, just so you know.
Oh, someone just broke into my apartment. They're telling me definitely to use the brushes.
It was weird. This guy came in and he's like, use your Toon Boom stuff now.
Yeah, are you using the new 22?
What do you mean? Oh yeah, Storyboard
Storyboard.
Pro 22.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Same. Yeah, I just switched over
Right.
a couple weeks ago.
I'm gonna do a little trick here where I'm just gonna, reverse that and slant it. So I don't know if you ever do that. Do you ever use like the skewing tools?
So to like animate it quickly kind of thing?
Yeah. Let's do one more here. And sometimes all you need is just a little shift over.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. It's like I think the biggest tips I tell people when they're starting a board, one, if like you can reuse a drawing, reuse it. Because I think a lot of people have this fear when they're first starting, like they have to draw everything fresh. Like
Yeah.
all the time, it's like take advantage of the technology. You know what I mean? Like you can reuse stuff. Plus,
Yeah.
with Storyboard Pro, it's vector, so you could definitely reuse it.
Yeah, I was working on The Simpsons at one time, and I was showing like an efficiency that I started doing, and it was like, yeah, I do way less drawings if you do it this way. And they're like, oh well, I didn't get into this career to draw or anything. I was like, well, yeah, but come on, man. I mean,
that's so
weird. So much faster. Think about it. Think it over.
I feel like people who say that are super like maybe like fresh. I don't know if I'm wrong on that, but like
no, this guy worked for like 20 years in animation.
Okay, that's crazy. I don't know. I thought you'd want something to be faster so you could because I didn't like when I was first starting, I learned from a guy who'd been in the industry, longer than I have. He was like, look, it's not always about drawing fast, it's also about drawing smart. Because he had a family, he had to get his hours, get work done on time and actually go home on time. So for him, it was crucial for him to draw smart. So, but for me, when I first started, I was like, but if I'm not drawing, then it's cheating and blah, blah, blah. And I was like staying way too late and not having a life. So his words meant a lot. So I took that to heart and I was like, yeah, you're right. What am I doing? When they check your your storyboards, they're not like, well, that drawing isn't freshly drawn. Do it again.
Yeah. So they're like, what does it look like in edit? That's what they say.
Yeah, or I mean, just make sure it's clear enough to know what's going on. That's really the biggest thing about storyboarding, which is why I still have the issue apparently where I over clean. Because to me, I'm like, these are my roughs, and I was like, dude, they're clean. I'm like, oh. Well, okay.
You're done, sir. You are done. You're over. That's it.
You can move on now.
put your pencil down, Frico. That stylus stays on the desk now.
Time's up, stylus down.
Let's do one more panel right in the beginning where it's just pretty much just all white. I think if we just take this and opacity down, way down, we can get that effect fairly quickly. And again, we'll just grab this layer here, and in the tool properties for our black arrow, we'll just flop it and then rotate it a little bit. And I think that should help. So let's go through it. So, and then we hear coming from the inside or something, like a nice little voiceover. I think maybe we go to Santa's Evil Workshop or something. That might be a good place to pick up with Evil Santa.
Yeah. Do you think he has evil elves, or it's just him? He's soloing.
Oh, I don't think he would have elves. What can we do in place of elves?
Well, I feel like robots are more not feely.
Not like Yetis or.
True. I was thinking way evil. It's what if you don't have the remains of elves? It's just
they're skeletons.
They're you see maybe some hats and elf shoes, but it's where are the elves? It's oh, you know what happened. You know what happened to the elves. See, Neon says penguins with evil mustaches. That's actually pretty cool.
Oh, that's a strong contender right there. It is South Pole. There's lots of them.
I think that's a good recommendation.
That's funny.
They already got the tuxes. Why not have the mustaches?
Right? Okay, so I think that in order to differentiate Santa Claus and, evil Santa Claus, I think that he should have like one of those like spike balls, like they put on like medieval maces.
Yeah.
As the thing there, and he should be like kind of like not jolly fat, but like disgusting fat. Where he's got like some sort of like crazy collar and like weird elbow patches and stuff. And be like sitting at some like table. I'm going to take that and put it on layer B because I know I'll probably have like the background. Let's do, I feel like even though he's on the South Pole, he would have like a big like roaring fireplace that you could sit in front of.
Makes sense. You gotta have the evil fireplace.
Let's make him like even smaller in the frame so this place looks huge. So you would have like, let's put a workshop table on layer 1 where or layer A. He's got some like, knickknacks and tools and like little, those like those toolboxes where it's like you pull out and it's got the extended little shelf set kind of.
Yeah.
Like the toy fixer on Toy Story 2.
Yeah. That guy was who was it? This is the same guy from the chess match.
Jerry's Game?
Yeah. That corrected me up the first time I saw it.
Maybe like we'll put like some dismantled missiles or something.
I'm trying to think what he would eat instead of milk and cookies. What would be evil?
Yeah, he lives on a diet of shark fin soup or something. I don't know. That's evil, right?
And a candy cane peg leg for good measure. That's a pretty good suggestion.
Ooh, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a suggestion by Neon as well. Candy cane peg leg.
So he's just sitting on like a...
Sorry, Neon said pineapple pizza is evil. Cool.
All right, ban that person from this stream for life because pineapple pizza is amazing.
I always get in arguments with people about that too. I actually really like Hawaiian style pizza or Hawaiian pizza, whatever.
So my sister-in-law turned me on to the glory of pepperoni and pineapple pizza.
Yeah, I've had that before. I like it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You have like steel-toed boots. Sorry, I didn't mean really to ban you, person. I know people have their opinions. I just get heated about mine. So sorry if I offended you, but you offended me first. So
okay. Pineapple and anchovies. Oof. I don't know. I still haven't had
that's evil. That's evil.
That is pretty evil.
That's evil for sure.
Have you actually had anchovy pizza? I haven't had it yet. I've been curious, but I haven't had it yet.
I haven't had it, and I have not been curious because that sounds really gross.
I just heard it's salty.
Salty.
That's all I've heard. It's just really salty. Well, okay, so the reason why it's actually always because of that Futurama episode. I'm always like kind of curious because the fact they go so crazy for it.
Okay, so then let's have like some sort of, like really not safe fireplace type thing. He's got some more stuff on his workshop, but like this guy just stares at fire all day.
I'm trying to think would be worse, fire or fluorescent lighting.
Fluorescent lighting, probably. At least fire is like natural light. I don't know. Maybe
True.
you just
It is warmer. Yeah, it's like warmer, even as a light sense. I prefer warm lighting.
I don't know. I don't know what I prefer. Natural light, I do like, except for when I go outside after being in a dark place and it's like, I can't see anything. Okay, so boom, 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 boom. We've got a nice little bit, maybe like the smallest of like fire grates or something like right here, and like some wicked set of pokers that look like little pitchforks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then just like a raging inferno in the fireplace. Okay, let's put a little bit of tone in there just for kicks and giggles and give it that feel that we're looking for of it being, you know, dark and dangerous and, you know, all that good stuff. Let's fill that in. Boom. Oh, whoops, I forgot to do. Here's a little thing that Photoshop can't really do. Select that, cut it, and paste it back over. And let's just darken that up a little bit just for funsies. Oops, too colorful. Just dark enough. Okay. All right, cool. So there we go. We've got Santa, and let's give him a little bit of tone too. So we have something from draw behind and fill in. Yeah, a little bit of rim lighting or something like that on him. So there's Santa in his evil workshop doing evil things. Dun, 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 dun. And if we really want to get, you know, complicated with it, we can just grab you know, just get a little bit of arm movement in there, I think. So where it looks like he's like doing something.
Yeah.
So he's,
you know, evilly.
yeah. And if we were really to get like into it, we could fill this out a lot more, but we don't have time. So we're just gonna blow through it. All right. So cut to Evil Santa. Let's do. I mean, what do you think about? Let's give us some depth in here, and we'll do Evil Santa close to frame, and then we'll have one of his mustache penguin lackeys come in and say like, "I'm quitting for the day" or something. That's when we get the ghost of Elvis past.
Just imagine the penguin coming back. Wah, 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 wah. He's like, "What?" He just leaves. It's like, I never know what those guys are saying.
The guy's fired.
I thought I fired you last week. They all look the same.
She'd have like big old. Oh, we need a scar. He needs a scar because the evil one always has a scar, right?
The scar or an eye patch.
Ooh, what about like one of those like dead blind eyes?
Oh yeah, the dead
Like
blind eye.
That's so popular in the anime.
It's true.
And you should have like some sort of like sharp looking, gross beard. And you know,
The evil Santa. I wonder what made him evil. Probably social media.
That tends to turn a lot of people evil, I think. You never know. I mean, there's always the classic like Grinch excuses, right? Whereas something was on too tight, or maybe he just, was the kid who got left behind with all the fun stuff. In favor of his more nicer brother. I don't know.
The classic childhood trauma.
Classic. So classic. All right. Let's get a little bit of tone on him so we keep that feeling. Just a little bit of this, like that. And let's put in a little bit of background. So we have like maybe a doorway like this. And we'll give it like some sort of evil looking jaws, maybe. So we know we're in the layer of evil. And again, forgive the the randomness of these thumbnail drawings. I always feel bad. Do you ever get that where like you start working on something and like people see it and they're like, oh, that's great. But like, you can draw better than that.
Oh yeah, all the time. I think what usually happens is, you're on a schedule, so like you just run out of time. And you have to pick and choose what you're actually be able to like really draw nicely. So in your mind, you're like, this is like crap. But I guess I'm always surprised when they're like, this is amazing. And I'm like, this is terrible. But the train's always moving. So it's like, well, on to the next thing. But yeah, I've definitely been there where I'm like, this is not my best. And like, no, it's fine. It's clear. I'm like, okay. Whatever you say, boss.
I put this in the wrong layer. So let's put him on layer A. So let's see, penguin shape. Let's get a penguin shape. Let's make him shorter, I think, right? Now, the big question is like, does mustache go over or under the beak?
Let's see.
Beak is nose and mouth combo.
I feel like the mustache would have to go over the beak, right?
So like, let me think. It would be like penguin, right? Here's beak. If it goes underneath the beak, it's kind of a beard. If it goes over beak, then it looks like a weird nose. I think it's better though, right?
I think that's where it says. Senior says, over the beak with a little triangle evil beard under it.
Oh, soul patch.
Yeah, so I guess it'd be. Get the soul. We call it the snow patch in the South.
In the South Pole, it's the snow patch.
I don't know. I feel like this is like some early design for like Madagascar penguins or something.
All right. And since we already did this little drawing, we might as well use it. We'll just pop him in there, shrink him down, and just sort of adjust this a little bit so we have screen direction still.
Yeah.
Maybe give a little salute.
It's like, of course.
Hail, evil claws! It's 6 o'clock. I'm going off work. I'm going home.
I'm going home evilly.
And then we'll have, evil Santa just take a little glance over the side here. We don't need to have very much movement. I know this is something that I learned a long time ago, that generally when you have a power dynamic in a room, the person that remains the most still is generally the most powerful.
Yeah. It's almost like the stoic personality kind of thing.
Yeah, well, they have no need to expend energy, right?
Nope. Yeah, no, they barely need to talk, and it's usually just grunt.
Like when you read like The Godfather, Don Corleone or something like that. Dude doesn't move around a lot, He just sort of lounges there very, quietly, and unless he's got something he really needs to drive home.
Yeah, I feel like they
slaps that one dude.
Yeah, like when they expend a lot of energy, it's either out of like anger or something. So then it's even more impactful because they usually don't move that much.
Right.
So like actually seeing them move and be angry, it's like holy crap.
And I think that's something that a lot of people, when they're starting out with films like that, they don't think about not only the shape language of a character, or the idea of like a motion profile. I don't know if that makes sense, but like the articulation of how a character moves tells a lot about them.
Yeah, I think what it is sometimes when they're first starting out, they'll be like, well, I have to make sure to put as much acting in as possible. And it's like sometimes less is more for the character personality. So if everyone is always overacting or like, everywhere, then it's not the same. It's not as like each character doesn't stand out in their own different, unique way, I think is what happens.
Well, and I think it happens a lot in animation too. In the actual process of animation, people, the movement is too much, and you can't really focus on any one thing.
Yeah, I've definitely I'll have people say like, Nick, don't you like the show? And I'll literally be like, I think it's over animated. Like my eyes are going a little crazy because it's like everyone's moving so much and it's all on ones. It's like it's just a little too much. But I don't know. I guess it's when people are like, well, you gotta make everything move. I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't.
Yeah, you've got to pick your moments. You got to pick what you're emphasizing and what you're not. We had a couple of like, I was an animation director on Mulligan for a while, and we would get shots that were just like, fluid and everything, but they didn't stop. Like it didn't rest anywhere. And so you would get to where it's like, well, I don't know where to look because there's so much happening.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like it like actually starts hurting my eyes because I'm like, I don't know where to look and everything's moving. And people don't do that in real life, so it just seems almost like really uncanny. It's like
Yeah. Absolutely. It starts to really get weird. So, all right, so we got this shot where evil Santa has his penguin minion. Good night, sir. I'm heading home for the night. And then he is just going to say, thought I fired you last week. And let's do a cut-in.
Yeah.
So, and again, another thing you can't do in Photoshop is this. Suckers.
Yeah, very true. The camera saves so much time.
Wow, wow, that's a good one, sir.
Yeah, it's like, see you tomorrow. Thought I fired you. Cool. See you tomorrow.
Later.
It is always nice to have the like you said, the kind of silent, barely moves character, and then the opposite, the character that's kind of oblivious, like just does not pay attention to what they're saying.
Right. It's I like to call it the Gurr effect.
Yeah.
From
Invader Zim.
Invader Zim. Oh my gosh. Talk about your characters that were just so weird and funny and wacky all at the same time.
Yeah, such a good character. I know people are always like, well, if they're bringing it back, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Like, they did the Enter the Florpus movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was good, but I didn't feel like it captured the same sort of essence that the show did. Because I really love that show like a lot, and I feel like Enter the Florpus was good, but it wasn't like the same as when it was before, you know.
I know.
But, I mean, how do you capture that lightning in a bottle again?
Yeah, well, I know sometimes it's hard too, just because of it's just comedy's changed a lot, like what you're allowed to do anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
That's true. I mean, comedy has been, you know, nerfed significantly in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the time it just comes down to like the crew, you know, like you just don't have that same crew, and so you don't have that same sensibility because you don't have those same people.
Yeah, that's very true too. Yeah.
I think that, you know, a lot of times we kind of think about a show as like its own entity with its own life, you know, like, oh, this show is this way or this show is that way, and we don't really think about like the building blocks of said show comes down to people and their sensibilities and their own life experience, you know. Like if you look at, you know, some of the early Looney Tunes ones, where, you know, Looney Tunes is a great example because some directors had a very different stamp on theirs than others.
Yeah.
Like you could tell a Chuck Jones versus a Friz Freleng versus a Tex Avery cartoon, you know, and each of those had the same characters that they were dealing with, but in vastly different ways, you know. So it's still a Looney Tunes cartoon. It's still in that realm, but the cartoons themselves are so different. All right, so
that is very true.
I thought I fired you. That's a good one, sir. And he leaves. All right, so next shot. I think what we're looking for is an entrance to the Elvis ghost, right?
Yep.
A suggestion?
Let's see. Try to see if anyone in chat has a suggestion. Any suggestions how Elvis ghost should appear, chat? I'm trying to remember how it happens in Scrooge. Well, Scrooge, he's going to bed, so it's like a dream.
Right. I think he should. Right? I don't think we need any more different set pieces here, but maybe we should do like a down shot and have him like get up from his desk and maybe like, you know, try to think up something evil or something. I don't know.
Unless he comes out of the flame. Hey, mama. when you're tall.
You get some like Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame vibes.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, what
Yeah,
about like a clock chiming and the clock just starts going, oh, you know, like
yeah, and he's like, "What? That's new."
that's different.
Neon suggests it comes from literally the skull of Elvis at his desk right next to him, and then the skull still has the hair. So
But
it's
like
just this.
on a weird mantelpiece or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be
That's
like on
funny.
his. Well, this is on his deck in the chat. I'm guessing it meant desk. For some reason, he just has a skull of Elvis. Why
As
not?
one does.
He's evil. He's evil.
Evil just solves so many problems story wise. He's evil, so he's got this thing. So he's got. Oh, forgot to turn off the fill in. Okay, I think that's where tool presets really come in handy. Like if you have a tool preset that you really use a lot, you can just turn that off, so it always goes back to, whatever. And okay, so we've got skull. Let's put that right there. It's got the toolbox. With the multiple shelves that go backward, some tools, some scattered stuff, and maybe and if we really wanted to get into it, we could use some of those like nice perspective tools or whatever, but we don't have time. Again, we should make this.
Yeah, I think I always just draw a quick grid, even for work. I don't know. I just draw a very quick grid.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
One of my old directors on DuckTales, this guy Jason, he had like a whole like library of grids that he made and just would plop them down as part of his library.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
So he just have like, oh, this is my grid that I use for my down shots, or this is the grid that I use for this or that, and he would just have it on tap, kind of on tap, but he would just have it in the library. Just put like bones or something in here as stuff that he's burning, like the Burbs or something, You just have the sidewall here, and maybe like some sort of like floor emblem. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought like he'd be sitting inside of an evil moat. It's like an indoor moat. It's evil.
Evil. What are you gonna do?
It's evil.
Spike. And then he, cancel. Gets up. Just gonna duplicate that really quick. And he holds up whatever thing he's working on. Like it's little teddy bear chomps a lot. Steel toe boot. You disappoint me. Throws it away.
He never likes anything he makes. So they never get delivered. Never.
And we see it just goes into the flames. You disappoint me. Goes in flames. Then I think maybe we cut to a side shot. Oops. It's like the Wario of Santas.
I'm trying to think what it is.
Huh?
It's Mario. It's Mario and Wario. So what would it be? Well, what would it be? Xanta? Because you
That
flip
sounds
it
like
upside
some
down
sort
or
of
whatever.
weird. It sounds some sort of weird incontinence drug.
It does actually.
So the evil Santa should probably have pointed teeth, huh?
That is the classic evil Santa.
All right, let's see. Then we have the skull here, and the missile, all that stuff. The skull is on a stand. And here's the table. And we have a hint of that, and then maybe like a ceiling plane, and like the hint of the fireplace. And then I think we should do something where that toy just explodes or something like that. Or it's just like, Santa hardly even flinches, but we see his his hat just sort of shifts or something. How are we doing on time?
I think we have like 20 minutes.
20 minutes is it? Oh crap! We gotta book it.
Yeah, time goes by quick when you're boarding.
Let's see.
The time flies.
Let's
What kind of goes back to. That's what goes back to. I wish that the drawings would be nicer, but I'm out of time.
Yeah. So I think we should do this. Just a little quick fix. Since we have the everything reacting already, we should just do another one where it's not reacting yet, and then do like the explosion part, like right here.
And it's funny too because it's like, how did that big of an explosion come from that little teddy bear?
Yeah. And then the evil Santa just gets all curmudgeon-y again, and not to to reuse cinematic tricks, but I think that's when the skull is going to start talking, is when his back is toward it. And then he just clenches his fist or something and scowls. Then we have this seemingly innocuous background element start to rise.
Trying to think what Elvis says, because I know Elvis says like, you know, he'd be like, "Hey, little mama," but it's like, what does he say for a man?
I don't know. Better calm down there, man.
Oh,
You're gonna give yourself indigestion.
Elvis Ghost. That's how he summons himself. He says his own name. Elvis Ghost.
Another failure again, eh? Come on, evil Santa. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
I thought of like what is it? You do that thing so you don't have to draw it all. It's like it cuts the close up of Santa's face and you hear it all off screen. I'm dancing.
He's just like watching it.
I'm doing a backflip right now. It's like, but it's just all Santa's face.
And then the director looks at it and is like, "What kind of lazy board artist is this?"
Well, it's one of two ways. It either works as a really good gag, or yeah, the director's like, "Who didn't draw this?" I think I was actually watching something recently where it cut to black and they were describing what was happening. It was pretty funny, actually.
Well, yeah, you can do that sort of thing if you do it cleverly, but there's a difference between doing it cleverly and not doing it because you don't want to do it.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I always have to tell people when they want to get into boarding too. It's like, get ready. Like, yes, you do draw smart, but at the same time, you're going to have to draw a lot regardless.
Yeah,
So
you can't avoid the work
Yeah.
it takes to be a board artist. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, but I feel like, you know, you can make it really great. I think you have a bigger impact on the final film than as a board artist than you would as anything else outside of being a director, which is still technically a glorified board artist.
Yeah.
Oh, the hair, it was supposed to still have the hair, huh? Well, I forgot about that, but you know what? I think it would be cool to have the hair just sort of pop out.
Yeah, almost like it's part of the transformation.
And then, is any of you ever use the overshoots?
Oh, yeah. I do all the time.
So pop up?
Yeah, my favorite things to draw are like overshoots, spear frames. Yeah, the what is it when it squashes down? I'm always just like squash down, but that's not what it's called.
Squash drawing, stretch drawing?
Yeah. Almost like the stretch down before it like settles.
Oh, it's squash
It's like opposite. Yeah. It's the opposite of the overshoot.
Uh-huh. I'm back, Evil Santa. And I'm here to tell you, change your ways, man. Sounds like Johnny Bravo more than Elvis, but
I mean, that's who he's based off of.
kind of synonymous, I guess, but
Yeah, that's true. I'd have to re-listen to like how Elvis talked compared to Johnny Bravo because I think all I hear is Johnny Bravo. But I can't help it. I grew up on him.
yeah. I mean, there's a pretty rich tapestry to pull from with Elvis stuff. Ooh, that was weird. My computer decided to wig out all of a sudden. All right, let's see. Keep him in the general position. I think this is a case for a pullout. I think we start bigger, and we pull out with Elvis Ghost during his transformation, as we hear, the sounds of like, Elvis style rock and roll. Oh, yeah, yeah. I know you're shook up, man, but say no time.
Is it the pompadour? That's what they call the hair?
Yeah. The pompadour. And I could make like a glitter brush or something like that for this sort of thing. Those are always nice to have. Like if you're a brush maker, if you know how to make good brushes in Storyboard Pro, I think you're doing all right. Because you're going to be able to save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah, that's good to know. Should probably sit and make some brushes.
Like I'll just cheat and use my other brush, my particle brush. Then let's have him. Let's get that darker color in there a little bit. A little bit more in the blue. Have some like, whoops, need to change my brush back. Where's those brushes I was using? Here we go. Whoa, man. Oh. Let's have some more of this forming in the body. The Elvis-y outfit. I don't know. Everybody always defines Elvis as by like that one last outfit that he wore in Vegas, or like the jumpsuits and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like he wore so much more than that as far as costuming went.
Yeah, it's like he had normal clothes too, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just the jumpsuit. That's it.
Come on, Evil Santa. You know you gotta change your ways, man. Overshoot on the eyes, then back in. And sometimes when you're boarding, just a little simple tilt here and there will kind of keep it lively. So small tilt in the move. Little animation tricks, I think, can help you a lot when you're boarding to make, I don't know, to get some like mileage out of the drawings,
Yeah.
So you're not having to like fully animate like everything, because I mean, honestly, in the last little while, especially in TV, I've noticed like the effort to circumvent what should be the layout stage has gotten like really strong. So like everything goes into boards now. Like jobs that would have been 2 or 3 jobs a decade ago.
Yeah, it's true. Because I've been on one where I even had to make technically my own animatic at the same time. So.
Oh yeah, a lot of primetime shows are like that, where you make your own animatic.
Yeah. Anytime there's a song too, you usually end up timing it to the song.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, man. I'll tell you. Then I think he needs to strike like an Elvis pose as we do the pull out. Hoo-ha! That's definitely Johnny Bravo.
Look out.
Then camera tool. Drop a couple keyframes. Not that big.
See. I think if I'm saying this correctly, it says Amir from chat asked, "How can I be a freelance storyboard artist in big studios like Nic?"
Well, California's kind of weird with their freelance stuff. Are they still weird about it?
What the needing to be here, or what do you mean?
Just there was that one freelance law where like you couldn't freelance unless you had some sort of like LLC set up or something.
Oh, I haven't had that issue. But I feel like being just a freelance artist or a board artist for big studios is kind of hard because they want full-time people more than anything, I think. Like, I feel like freelance, the only freelance I've been doing is because it's for a show in development. It's not a show yet. But if it was to become a show, I'd have to be full-time, not a freelancer. And then I guess I feel like the only time people get hired for freelance is if they need someone to like fill in for someone temporarily. Like it's not like a full-time gig.
Yeah.
It's like someone's gone on vacation. We need help temporarily or something like that. Or like the show's about to end, but we need someone to help with the last episode kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's all very temporary.
Or like rewrites or something like that. I feel like that's a good way to get in on a show that has, like, I was working on a show for Bento Box that, they had a couple of board artists leave and they were really trying to finish up and they were just in a bit of a jam.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like those gigs are always super temporary. It's just like they need help, or it's not usually like we're going to keep you the whole season. It's like
if freelance is all you're looking for, then that should be perfect.
Yeah.
And of course, if we were to fully board this out, then we would, put in a couple of acting poses in there that. Would flesh this out a little bit more.
Yeah, you got to sell the Elvisness.
Yes, there would be much more fanfare and Elvis-y things, but we just don't have the time. We're running out of time. How much time do we have left?
I think we're down to 8 minutes.
Oh no!
It goes so quick.
All right, let me share this file with you, Nic. Get started.
I know.
Where's that guy who wanted to do the freelance? Get him on here.
You want to be a star, don't you? Finish this board.
Come be our unpaid intern for a show.
It'll get you the exposure that you wanted.
Oh, no. Don't say that. Oh, that's terrible.
We'll pay you an experience.
You're looking for.
It'll get you those networks. The old days.
Oh gosh, yeah, terrible.
Well, that still happens. It's not the old days. It's just you gotta be careful who you take freelance from, and make sure they're definitely gonna. I tell people at least try to get some payment up front because you never know.
Yeah, I know the union has, talked about, trying to help with making things better on that front. But I mean, it's hard when there's so many moving pieces,
Yeah, I was actually more referring to, sorry, not even studios. This was like before I got in the studios. It's just dealing with people who are like, looking for artists, and it's like it's not even a studio. It's just someone who try to get payment sometimes beforehand because you don't know these people. Because I
Yeah.
definitely got tricked by someone who was like, "I'll pay you monthly," and then the month ended and I did not get paid. And then they're like, "Well, it's for Nickelodeon. Don't you want to get paid in experience in like networking?" And I'm like, "No, I don't even
I
know who
can't
you know over there."
experience in networking.
Yeah, my landlord ain't gonna take it. So
Yeah, I'm not gonna. There was a meme that I saw a while back that like, somebody or like a comic or something. Somebody went to the dentist's office and tried to pay them an experience. He's like,
hear me out.
I have a drill in my hand.
So you probably should have waited till I was done with the drill. But hear me out. Experience.
Yeah. Then we'll do like a quick little BG. I mean, we could probably just reuse we had. No, that's kind of a little bit of a different angle. So in this case, we'll just put the table like right here with the overturned missile and some of that stuff. And we'll just have it be a little bit more of a straight on thing. And Evil Santa will be in the foreground. Like evilly intrigued, I guess. Hey there, Santa. Time you change your evil ways. I'm here to remind you who you used to be. And then there's a song number, and it gets really involved.
All the penguins come back that we thought were fired.
Yeah.
And they just do the dance.
Remember this guy? You fired him a while back. Now they're my dancers. That's why I love this show. All the wacky stuff that comes around, I just love it. Just so awesome. Then you would do like a pose or something with Elvis starting to, get into it.
It's like, come on.
There's like a guitar appears. I think this would be like the perfect spot for a musical number.
Yeah.
Like old school like Southern Baptist preacher revival music. Like one of those huckster TV preacher people.
Yeah. Can I get a hallelujah?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
I mean, Elvis was a gospel singer too, so he loved that sort of stuff.
That is true. And the whole time Evil Santa would just be annoyed.
Yeah.
Or not even responding. One of the two.
I don't think he would respond at first, but then he'd be like forced to respond.
Yeah.
After like being forcibly overtaken.
You know, everyone's singing in his face, so he'd have to eventually.
We're gonna cure that with a song. Oh, 1, 2, 3. You know, so one of the things that we have to do a lot in boards is figure out acting for stuff. Nick, do you have any tips about what you do as far as like how to start in with acting?
I actually acted out myself. Like I'll still do that like thing where like you read the line and kind of like, you know, in front of your, like I don't record myself, but it's more like I'll just act it out. No, I actually don't. I probably should. I know other board artists who have the actual mirror like attached to their Cintiq, like a little mirror, so they can see their own facial expressions. But I think for me, it's just more like getting like how would my arms move a lot. I have not actually done like the full body, like I'm acting it all out, but I guess like I'll see it that way. But yeah, I'm just more like how would I say to move my body when I'm saying that line is kind of how I approach acting. And then of course, like we talked before, like what's their personality? So if it's the guy who's very like a lot of energy, then I want to like make him move a lot more. Whereas if someone's a little more bigger and just doesn't move much, like what's the minimal movement I'd have him do for the acting of the line? But how about you? Do you actually like record yourself or anything?
Well, only in cases where it requires like a specific motion. I've recorded myself before. You know, I have a home office here in one of the bedrooms of my house, and to my left right here immediately is just a big wall mirror that just came on the, you know, the sliding closet door.
Yeah, sliding closet door. Yeah, I used to have.
So like that is really handy if I really need to do something. Sometimes if you're like really stuck, you know, try and think of like who like the person that's playing the character, like the voice artist or something like that. Sometimes you can look up some stuff of mannerisms that they've done. Like when I was on The Simpsons, I had a couple of scenes like with Weird Al before, and so like looking at reference of how like Al moves and how he you know, walks around when he's performing and stuff, that really sort of helped. And you know, in like music videos and things like that too.
Oh yeah, dancing, I'll just look up dances because I'm not a good dancer. But I had to do a whole K-pop music video, and I just looked up a bunch of K-pop dances. I was like, I can't dance. So let's see. Amir had a question. I get this question a lot, but I am kind of curious what you think. What do big studios think about fan art made, especially for our portfolio? I feel like I get that question a lot. But I also feel like the answer's somewhat changed these days.
I don't know. I mean, personally, I have a love and hate relationship with fan art. In the fact that I feel like fan art, if you just do fan art, you're taking away from something that you could be doing of your own. You know, like your own work, your own expression, instead of following down the path of somebody else that you're not blazing your own trail. But at the same time, you can learn a lot from doing fan art. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for me. Yeah. I would personally rather see people's original art because I know like what they draw like, as opposed to if they can copy somebody else. Like I had a especially for designers, you know, like I had a conversation with a designer one time where he was doing some really like Cartoon Network type stuff. And we were talking, I was like, you know, where's your stuff? And he's like, well, this is my stuff. It's like, no, this is Paul Rudish's stuff. Like, you've basically copied Craig Kelman or Paul Rudish or one of these guys. Like, what do you have to bring to the table? Like, you know, because those guys are already working. Like, I want to see what your style is. I want to see, like, your interesting view of the world that no one else has, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I think I told them that the same thing. Like, I'll usually, like, you know, if you're making your website, if you have fan art, I usually keep it separate, like make a whole tab for fan art and then personal work. But it's kind of like what you were saying. Like, it doesn't, it's like if I hire you on a show that's not that fan art, can you handle it? So it's almost like you do need to, and you want to see their own thought process of how they design a character. So, but it's kind of crazy these days because, like, you'll see someone like, hey, fan art paid off. I'm working on this show because I did fan art of it. So it's just, it's interesting. It's almost like the answer's kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put all your eggs in the basket of fan art. Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't make that like, oh, this is going to be my path to victory or the path to my dreams. Like, I don't think that is necessarily going to happen for everyone.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
It may happen for a few people, but they could be the exception more than the rule. And they usually are the exception more than the rule.
True. And I mean, in a way too, they usually get it because they draw the characters in their own style still. So that's why I feel like it works out for them. Usually.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is where the big musical number is happening.
But yeah, thanks, Amir. Yeah, I guess they're asking because I do a lot of fan art. I'm trying to think what fan art though. I do fan art, but it's like it's just when I draw that, but usually to kind of just chill, if that makes sense. Because usually I draw my own character designs, but if I'm doing fan arts because I just like didn't want to think of like what to design, it's more of like how can I draw this character differently?
Sure, you know, and there's a lot of creative pressure too, especially. And so with that, it is kind of nice to just be able to relax and just do something for fun. I remember I was in an office sharing with a friend who, a guy who was a showrunner came in, and we just were talking for a little while, and he was like, "Yeah, I love Legos." And I was like, "Why do you love Legos?" He's like, "Because I can just get the instructions and plug away and not have to be creative for a minute."
Yeah, I get that.
So Santa is there, and then all these penguins come out from behind him, and he's like, "What the?" I fired all of you.
The penguins are fired past.
Yeah. You're dead, I know for a fact. I killed you myself.
The one penguin like holding its own head. I thought you were dead.
All right, folks. Well, it's been real. I'm afraid that we couldn't quite cap this one off to a satisfactory manner, but this has been a wonderful 2022 with the Collaboratory. I'm sure we will see you all next year. So, any last parting bits of advice, Nick, for those who are watching our stream and are really, really interested in Storyboard?
I think I always give this advice. Well, one, keep on drawing if it's what you really want to do. And then I think a lot of people get intimidated when they look on social media of like what storyboarding is or how good I need to be immediately. So I say instead of getting intimidated, just get motivated, because that's how I work. Like if I see someone do amazing work, it makes me want to draw more. But I just say, like, you know, keep your head up and keep going for it. And if you do a test and you don't get it right away, just keep testing.
Yeah, I think you really have to do it because you love it, you know?
Yeah.
If you do it for the paycheck, then it becomes a really empty endeavor.
It really does.
So, I mean, download a trial version of Storyboard Pro, get good at it, make good films. Just make films, just make something, make something that's uniquely you.
And definitely watch films for reference. I think people underestimate that too.
Yeah, I think watch films to learn film grammar.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea. But find your own unique cinematography that you love too. Like, find your own voice. And with that, thank you for coming to our little stream, and we'll see you all in the new year. And as the ghost of Christmas Elvis says, see you all later, man. Elvis is leaving the building. Oh, that was
later,
so cheesy.
people. I know. That's how we do it. That's how we do.
I couldn't help myself. It was just the cheese.
You gotta be cheesy. Song. It's mandatory.
That was like a squeezy cheese level of cheesiness.
It was.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.